Hello, welcome to Lesson 3 on Discovering, Rediscovering, or Redefining Your Core Values. In this lesson, we are going to be using a tool. It's a list of some common personal core values. We're going to use that list and some questions and reflecting on past lessons to create our own list. So let's get doing. All right, in the last lesson, I did share more information about what values are. And in this lesson, I'm going to talk more about why they're important. Take a look at those first two top bullet points there. I hear this all the time in the books that I read and the mentors that I listen to, and they really explain that when you start diving deep and asking yourself, who am I? What do I want out of this world? Who do I want to be? And really thinking about those things and taking that time to personally grow, you're laying a foundation for so many great things. It's giving your life direction. It's helping you make decisions. It's helping you prioritize, because the thing is, time's precious, right? We don't have time for everything. So we need to think about the things that are most important to us and who we want to be and the life we want to live. Because when we have that daily focused attention and we're very intentional, we really are able to achieve what we want. The other thing that I think has really helped me in this process of thinking more deeply about these things is I'm starting to see the world and others in new ways. I'm not as judgmental. I judge people on their values all the time. I do, and I think we all do. And instead, now looking at it as everyone has a very unique set of values, and they're all different. They're ever changing as we grow, right? The experiences we have and the people that we meet. And when we decide there's something we want in our life, we go for it. And that looks different to me than it does for someone else. And I shouldn't be judging others on their values. We may even have the same values as somebody. We may say, oh, I have that same value, but how I interpret it, how I define it, what it looks like in my life is different than yours. So once again, I shouldn't judge you. Just realize we're all different and we prioritize them differently as well. I think that's been the biggest thing that I've really gotten out of this as well. In today's lesson, you are going to create a list. Now you kind of have a list going from your lesson 2, where you've categorized a bunch of words. We're going to use that today, but we are going to kind of make more of a finalized list. And I want you to think about these 3 questions as you are looking at some of your final words that you want to choose. The first thing is, how do you want to live your life as the greatest version of you? Now, we've talked a lot about mentors and coaches and having people in your life that you can learn from, that you look up to. I think that is so important, so important. In fact, in lesson 1 on question 5, I said, who are your role models? Who are your heroes? Who are the people you look up to? What are the qualities that they have that you love? And often it's because they're things that we do value. We may not be living them right now, but we must value them because we really look up to this person. And it's okay to say, boy, this person's a really strong example in their life of growth. And I want that in my life. I don't have it, but I know it's in me. I know it's something I value. That's great. And we can have that person in our life to help us do that. But we have to remember, we're not trying to be the greatest version of them. We're trying to be the greatest version of us. So if we try to live our life any other way, we're just not going to find the fulfillment. We're going to be running on the treadmill again and again and again because we're trying to be the greatest version of someone else rather than us. We all have our own unique gifts, and we're all uniquely different for a good reason, right? We all have something to bring to this world. On number 2, what I mean by this one is, I said, are your top values centered on the inside and not dependent on external factors? So let's say that I list respect as one of my top values. When I'm thinking about respect, it's important to think about, how am I going to live out a life of respect? showing respect for myself, showing respect for others, showing respect for however I define it. It's an inside-out job. We don't want to focus on how are my family members going to show me respect? How is my boss going to show me respect? We don't want to rely on, I only feel respect when someone treats me a certain way. And that's the only thing that we ever focus on. The important thing is when you have your core values is remembering that it's an inside out job. It starts on the inside. And we can work on these things and be a role model of these things. Now, if you are in a relationship or you're at work or anything else and you're not feeling that respect, we've talked about being proactive. First saying, I am in charge of my own life. I'm not going to let others make me feel a certain way, but we do get hurt. And that's when you need to communicate. And just communicate clearly what your boundaries are and the things that you need. There's nothing wrong with that. And there's nothing wrong with having hurt feelings. Absolutely not. But I think what this shows us is if I've taken responsibility for myself for this value, I am a strong role model of this in my life, and I treat others with respect. I then communicate clearly when I'm not feeling respected. I then have this line where I can make a decision. If I'm continuing not to feel that respect from maybe my job in the area that I'm in, then I can make a decision on what I can do next, right? In number 3, this is where you can use your answers from lesson 2. When you categorized your words into different groups, people, outcomes, possessions, traits, behaviors, I think this is really good for us to think about. When I'm making my final list, wow, I noticed that all of mine seem to be on behaviors. Not that that's a bad or a good thing. I'm not saying that. Let me be more curious about that. Do I want all my core values to be behaviors? Or what else do I need to think about here that could be related to this other core value or whatever? Just think about that. You know, if we have people on our list, we have family, maybe we have friends, customers, your relationship with God or any other spirituality that you may have. Some people look at it as these are always going to be on my list of values. These are not changing. How they look might change. So other people always put these on their list for sure. And other people say, I'm going to choose these core values, and always thinking that my family and my role in every other aspect of my life, whether it's a daughter, whether it's being a colleague, a friend, a sister, whatever it is, a mother, I always have to pay special attention to those relationships. Relationships are important. So I live out these core values that I've chosen in accordance with those and respecting those relationships. You can organize it in any way that you want to do. You just have to remember that number 2 thing. Don't expect people or things, those external things, to give you that fulfillment. Make sure you know what you're focusing on. Does that make sense? So just keep that in mind when you're making your list. And I did put the list here in from lesson 2 if you weren't sure what those categories were. That was from lesson 2. So here's the list that you can use. You do not have to use this list. If you use the internet and type in, common values list, you'll get a million hits. So please use anything that you want. I'm not going to tell you a number to narrow it down to. I think that's up to you. But here's what I will say. When you focus on too many, you will focus on none. It becomes too overwhelming. Now, I have mentors or people that I follow that have 10. And I have some that say, that's too many, I have 5. It's all depending, and I think it also depends on your profession. Here's somebody that, John Maxwell, he lives, this is his life, talking and teaching about these things. So he has 10. And he reflects on those every single day. Not that you couldn't do that, but just keep that in mind. Sometimes if you have too many, you you don't have any, they say. All right, we will see you in lesson 4 with your list, and we will go from there. I will also make an announcement about our live session coming up, so be ready for that. All right, enjoyed my time here with you today. Make sure if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below, and we will make sure we answer them. Or also post anything on the page that you feel might help others. All right, have a great day.